Today I'll be working on a 2010 Acura TSX. I'm going to be changing the starter. I'm going to show you one way. I don't like getting under a car if I don't have to. So I'm going to take the intake manifold off to get to the starter and change from the top. Here are the tools that are necessary. You got a Phillips, flathead, pliers, socket set. You need a 10, 12, 13, 14, 11 16s for the 1/4 inch, and then you have 11 16 for the 1/2 inch if you're going to use a breaker bar. I have some extensions, a total of 3, which should be good. Something to help you, either a small breaker bar or this bike seat will do, and a big breaker bar to unscrew the starter bolts, because they're very tight. That's all you need. First thing, I'm going to get this top lid off, then I'm going to disconnect this to move this out of the way so I can have more room to get to the other sensors and all the hoses on the sides. First thing I'm going to do is take the negative battery cable off, and then I'm going to start taking these 2 bolts for the cover. To get the cover off, you just have to wiggle it. It is stuck inside these little rubber gasket looking thingies, which just, there it goes, it pulls up. So these little, right there, this goes into there, the metal spike holds it in. So here's your intake manifold. I'm going to also take this screw, so I can take it off and put it on easily. It'll be a screw right there. There's a screw right there, screw right there, screw right there, screw right there, and there's also one right there. So it's very simple to change. What I like to do is, I'm going to take this little bracket off. There is a, it's hard to focus it. Put your flathead into here as you're pushing down with your other hand. My third hand, try to pull this right here. There we go. And that comes out, so you can see this little bracket up top. You push that down, and it will come out. Don't break it. Next, I'm gonna take these cables out of the way, and the way you do this is, let me focus it. You push, ouch, it's hot. Push it over here and on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the bottom first. Of course, it's going to be very hard to record into it, but the bottom is always going to be harder, so it's better to do that first, and then the top will be easy. Alright, so I did the bottom already, and now I'm going to do the top and push out, and it comes out. So these 2 things, you push on the top and the bottom, and it comes out. And then you go right here, and you want to push this plastic piece out and up, and that'll release it. And then you want to go down here and get this sensor right here. And the way you do that is, so what you have to do is, you have to pick up this center piece of the plastic, and then it will just come out like that. See the little piece of, I'll show you what now. This little piece of plastic right here, this little plastic one, it connects. I'd work on it with one hand. Basically, it sticks onto this plastic right there, and it holds it in place. So that's the way you get that off. Then you can take this sensor, push down and push out, and wiggle it. Then you can just pull this out. It'll be quicker if you do with 2 hands. This can be done in 1 hour, but since I'm recording, it'll take a little bit longer. And then I'm gonna take this one off instead of over here, because I can just simply stick it in somewhere to get out of the way. So I'm gonna press this, wiggle it up. Let's see. This is another. You need to be careful not to damage the hose, but to just wiggle it around, loosen it, and eventually it will go up. It's been under for who knows how many years. It might be stuck, and then you just... Okay, come on. There we go. It's off. And I can just take this hose and just shove it in here somewhere. The engine is hot, so it's hard to work on it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I'll loosen the bolts. There's one over here, right there. There's one. Where is it? Can't see. Right there? No, that's not it. Right there? No, is that it? Yeah, right there. And there's also two in the very bottom, holding them down. That's how you get the intake manifold off. Here are the bolts for the intake manifold, only the top. There's 5 of these regular bolts, and then there's 2 of these special ones. I'll show you how to put them on at the end. And then there's also those 2 bolts in the very bottom holding it down. Now I'm gonna move this intake air thing away. It's gonna be hard, I can't do it with one hand. Basically you squeeze here. First you actually loosen this back part. Pull it down, you have to pull this hose down. And then you squeeze here while the other hand pulling this. It's hot right now, so it's gonna be hard. And you just wiggle it till it comes out. It's gonna be pretty hard. Alright, so I pulled it down, I'm gonna push it down. There's gonna be some radiator for fluid to come out. If it's hot under pressure, it's not good. You're supposed to wait till the car cools down, but I'm in a hurry. So there, that's loose. Next we're gonna squeeze here. I can't record because I need the other hand to pull here, pull up. It's gonna be hard. This stuff has been stuck for many years, so it's gonna be pretty sticky. So I got them both out. It's hot right now, so the metal gets hot. Next I'm gonna use this Phillips head to loosen this, and then I think we can wiggle it off. Again, everything is hot. Put this to the side. Get it out of the way. Better job. Shouldn't break, it's pretty strong plastic. That goes your throttle body. Next we're gonna loosen one of these hoses. I'm trying to figure out, I think I'll do it. I'm gonna loosen it here. Because it's gonna be, the hose is gonna get in my way to put that one on. These are some weird clips. And what I do is I only grab one of them. And I need 2 hands again. And you can loosen it up a little bit. If you have 2 flat heads, you can loosen it up and then pull it towards you, and you can remove that. Alright, so I loosened it. Now I'm just gonna pull it, and it comes out. This can just stay right there. I'm gonna go for the bottom bolts now. I got all the bolts off, everything's off. The only last thing to do is to get this sensor off. It's behind here. Just push this button here. Man, I wish I could show it clearer. This is on a phone. Here it goes. Push here, and you have to wiggle it up. It's gonna be hard, but it comes off. It came off. Don't get any water in it. If it does, dry it up before you plug it in, and then it just comes out itself. Slowly. Let's see what is. Oh, you know what? Here it goes. No, this is loose already. No, it's not. Here it goes. This is the other thing holding it right there. We got that hose loose as well. And then it should come out itself. Just pull back. Pick it up a little bit. Let's see, there's something else holding it right here. And then you can loosen this to remove it so you can get more room to it. Oh, here's the other sensor I forgot to unhook. What I forgot to show you is this sensor that I pulled out, which is this weird one. You basically take a flathead, push this out, and pull up, and it'll come out. There's a starter right there. So a starter is pretty simple. You disconnect this connector, and then it's gonna be hot, of course. Rubber protecting it. There's one bolt there. Make sure the negative power is off. Cable. And then you have 2 bolts. One back there, and one down there. Also, you can get this piece off too. This hose off, it'll be on that bracket. You have to push this down and it'll slide right out. You got so much room to get to the bolts now. First we're going to take that off and we'll have plenty of room to get to the back bolt. Very simple. Loosen it. Another thing I didn't show you was the same little bracket. Push the two ends, comes out of there, and then you I'm going to use a breaker bar with the 11/16 socket, 1/2 inch, to loosen it. You're going to push towards the engine. This thing is amazing power, this breaker bar. Be careful. These bolts are going to be really tight. Well, you get the point. The bad thing about breaker bars, it doesn't have much room to move in here. So here's what I use. It's been helping me for many years. It's a bike seat metal. The hole, stick it in here. It will help increase your power so you can get more. Just keep doing that and it will get looser and looser. Here we go, now I can do it by hand. Alright, now you can do it by finger. Of course it's hot. But there you go, that's one bolt. And the other one, we're going to do the same thing with the bike seat. For the back bolt, it's going to be a 14. You can't stick a breaker bar in there, so I use this tool. I'm going to do it one-handed. There you go. See how much it helps? Something as simple and cheap as a bike seat can help you fix a car. Yeah. I can zoom in. I won't let you zoom in. But you know, you can inspect the engine, which everything looks good. The starter's out. Is the inside of transmission. Here are the two bolts. This bolt is in the back, this bolt is in the front, and here goes the starter. Here's what it looks like. Here's the inside of it. The thing is, it looks, I mean, it can look pretty good over here, but it could be just something inside that's malfunctioning, or I don't know. Well, ouch, it's hot stuff. Alright, so I got the new starter on. You want to just tighten these two bolts. This one, and then this one, and then you're just gonna work backwards. You're just gonna hook up this thing, make sure your battery cable is unplugged. You're gonna put that right there, cover it with the insulator really well, plug this thing to that clip, hook that up, otherwise your starter will not start the car. So now that we're putting everything back together, you want to make sure that you put this hose back in its clamp. Check your what do you call it? Your gaskets. Make sure they're good. If they're not good, you can change them. These are perfect. These are low mileage, so they're all soft and they're good. I'm not gonna change these. And then it basically falls into. There goes the two bolts. It sets in there, and then you can just make room as it falls in. Please move this little wire out. It's supposed to go in smooth. There, it's in pretty smooth. Everything's in pretty smooth. Okay, and then just work backwards, plugging everything back up. So here's that intake weird bolt. There's only two of them. They both go up here. What I learned was if you hand tighten them all the way till you can see them on the other. So I tighten this as much as I can, and it's slightly sticking out. It will not go any further. Gotta do the same for that side, and then I can just put the bolt on and it'll tighten it up. Now, putting it on is very quick. You basically want to tighten up all the bolts, not too tight, just loose so they all fit in, all five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually, 6 bolts. Then you want to tighten each one, and then retighten each one, make sure they're tight. You don't want to tighten too much, plastic it'll crack. And you got two down here that go, and then you hook up this cable here, and you hook up the sensor thing is in here, and you got the blue one, and you got another one over here, and you got this one. It slides in so easy, it's smooth, really quick. You gotta make sure this is all good. This is all in there, and it's loose, not too tight. What you want to do is just tighten that up. You can use pliers or two flat heads, straighten it, stretch it that way, tighten it up that way. This is on, this is on, the sensor's on. It's in a bracket, and this bracket, this sensor's on. This thing goes on next. Actually, this one right here, you can put that on next. You tighten this up. You want to put the big one in first. Then you can slip the little one on. This sensor's plugged in back here. Make sure that's done. What else? What else? Put this bracket on. It's gonna hold the cover. And this is all good. Nothing's touching metal. Should be all right. So I mean, this is pretty simple, quick. Even 1 hour to do this. You're not recording. And all right, let's start the car.